My mother didn't just tell me to grow up. She emptied the only home I'd ever known, pocketed the equity my dad meant for me, and drove to Florida with my golden sister riding shotgun like I was disposable. What she didn't plan on was that Colorado keeps records, banks keep signatures, and abandoned daughters learn fast how to weaponize paperwork. So months later, when her favorite child fell, she needed the girl she'd thrown away. I turned 18 on May 29, 2023, and I thought I was about to start the normal kind of hard. Community college in Fort Collins, maybe a roommate, a part-time job at the Target off College Avenue, figuring out FAFSA. I didn't expect to stand in the kitchen of our 3-bedroom ranch on Hickory Street and hear my own mother tell me she'd already sold it. She said it so casual, like she was reminding me to take out the trash. She tossed a manila envelope on the counter and said, "You're 18 now. Figure it out yourself." The envelope was the closing packet. The sale date was June 30th. I had exactly 31 days to find somewhere to live. I stared at her. I said, "You sold Dad's house?" She didn't even look guilty. She said, "It was my name on the title after probate, Megan. It was always my house. I'm moving to Palm Coast with your sister. Rent is insane here. I'm not supporting 2 adults." 2 adults? She meant my younger sister, Ava, was an adult too, but Ava was 17 and finishing high school and apparently the one worth taking. My mom said Florida like it was some reward. Sunshine, beaches, new start. For them. I said, "Where am I supposed to go?" She said, "You're smart. Get a job. Get a roommate. Apply for housing. You've always said you're independent. Prove it." Except I hadn't said I was independent. I'd said I felt invisible. The number in the sale contract was $412,000. I saw it when I opened the packet later, sitting on the floor of my room because most of my furniture was already listed on Facebook Marketplace. My dad, before he died in 2020 from a stroke, had told me there would always be something for me in that house. He said, "Your mom will sell it one day, but half of that is for you girls." He said girls plural, but I knew what he meant. Equal. One problem: equal isn't real when one daughter is perfect. Ava was the volleyball captain, the honor roll, the blonde one, the one my mom posted on Facebook with sunflower emojis. I was the one with a part-time job at the library and acceptance letters to the community college no one brags about. I wore thrift store jeans. I stayed home on weekends. I took care of Dad's truck when Mom forgot to start it. So when she said, "I'm taking Ava," it was like she was saying, "I'm taking the part of my life worth showing off." The first week of June, a sign appeared in the yard even though the house was already under contract. It was just for show. People came through, looking around the living room like they were measuring their future. I cleaned the baseboards for strangers even though I was the one being thrown out. I slept with the closing packet under my pillow. I called my grandmother in Greeley. She said, "Honey, I can let you stay for a little, but not forever. I'm on Social Security." My mom knew that. She wanted me to feel the squeeze. Rent in Fort Collins in 2023 was ridiculous. Even a studio was $1,200 a month. I had $980 in my bank account. I was scheduled 15 hours a week at $15 an hour. That math wasn't mathing. So I did what she told me to do. I figured it out. Not the way she imagined. First, I went through Dad's old file box in the garage. Still smelled like oil in winter. There was the original mortgage, the refinance after Dad's stroke, and this part made me stop. His handwritten letter to the probate court in 2020 when he realized he might die. It said in his shaky writing that his intention was for the proceeds of the house to be divided equally between his wife, Teresa Dalton, and his daughters, Megan and Ava, upon sale. I ran my finger over my name. He'd written it. Megan. I looked at the probate stamp from Larimer County. June 18th, 2020. Filed. So no, it wasn't her house the way she said. Next, I logged into Dad's old credit union account. I still had the login because I was the one who'd helped him pay bills online when his hand shook. The account was closed. The balance had been transferred on July 3, 2020 to an account in my mother's name. Transfer $58,774.80. Life insurance. I pulled my phone out and took photos of everything. The letter, probate stamp, the transfer. I saved them in a folder called For Later. Because I knew my mother. She didn't steal loudly. She stole in little you don't need this ways. And selling the house without even offering me the chance to buy in? That was loud. I went to the title company on Mulberry. I was nervous, but I wore Dad's old CSU sweatshirt and said, "My name is on a probate document. I just want to see the closing file for 218 Hickory." The receptionist didn't love it, but she saw the probate letter and printed me the settlement statement. I asked if sellers could request proceeds be wired to different accounts. She said, "Sure, we do it all the time." So I could see it. On June 30, 2023, $401,300 after fees was wired to my mother's Wells Fargo account ending in 4301. Zero was wired anywhere else. Nothing to me. Nothing to Ava separately either, but Ava was moving with her. I wasn't. I sat in my car in the parking lot and cried hard, ugly, shoulder-shaking cries. Then I wiped my face and opened notes and started listing what I had. Probate intent letter, June 18, 2020. Copy of settlement statement, June 30, 2023. Proof of being an heir. Proof of being 18 at time of sale. Then I Googled Colorado house sale inheritance not distributed and fell into a rabbit hole. I wasn't a lawyer, but I kept seeing the same language: constructive trust, breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment. The words that meant, you can't just take everything because you're the parent, especially when the deceased said otherwise. I called the Larimer County Self-Help Center. I said, "My mom sold a house and didn't give me my share. I have the probate letter." The clerk couldn't give legal advice, but she said, "If you believe you're an heir who didn't receive distribution, you can file a petition to enforce the terms of the estate. There may be mediation." Mediation. That sounded like a room where someone would finally tell my mother no. I printed everything at the library. I filled out forms by hand. I wrote the dates carefully. I paid the $222 filing fee with almost all I had. I remember the number because my account dropped to $87.12 afterwards. I walked out of the Justice Center in Fort Collins with a stamped copy and a court date, August 14, 2023. I had done it before my mother even reached Florida. Except, I didn't tell her. On June 28, she loaded the U-Haul. Ava hugged me like I was a classmate she wouldn't see over summer. My mom didn't even do a walkthrough. She tossed me a key to Dad's old Ford and said, "You can keep the truck for now. Sell it if you need to. But the insurance comes off July 5th. I said, "You know Dad wanted us to split the house." She said, "I paid that mortgage for 15 years. I'm entitled. Don't call me when you run out of gas money." Then she drove away. I watched my mother's taillights disappear down Hickory, Florida plates on the U-Haul, my sister's head in the passenger seat, phone up, recording a story for Instagram. I stood on a strip of lawn that wasn't ours anymore. I moved in with my friend Tessa in Loveland for July. I slept on an air mattress in her dining room. I stacked my boxes around me like walls. I picked up extra shifts at Target. I ate store-brand mac and cheese. I told myself August 14th. Just make it to August. But then, on July 19th, I got an email from the case coordinator. "Your mother, Teresa Dalton, has requested to appear by Zoom from Volusia County, Florida. She has been notified of the petition." I smiled at my phone like I'd just won. I didn't call her. I didn't need to. Court would. The day before the hearing, she finally texted, "Megan, what is this court thing? I already gave you the house to live in for 3 years after Dad died. You didn't pay a dime. Why are you doing this?" I stared at the words "gave you" and wanted to punch something. She hadn't given me anything. My dad had died. I typed, "Dad said half was for me. You kept all." I filed to enforce. "See you tomorrow." She didn't respond. On August 14th, 2023, I sat in a little conference room at the Justice Center with fluorescent lights and a speakerphone. The magistrate was on video. My mother appeared from what looked like a condo with beach paintings behind her. She was already tan. Ava was behind her, leaning in and then backing out when she realized it was court. The magistrate said, "We are here on the petition of Megan Dalton regarding distribution of estate proceeds from the sale of 218 Hickory. Ms. Dalton, you allege that your mother failed to distribute your share." I said, "Yes, Your Honor." My mom said, "Your Honor, my daughter is an adult and I supported her for 18 years. The house was in my name. I sold it to relocate for work and for my younger daughter's education. There was no requirement to give Megan cash." I took a breath. I said, "My dad filed a letter saying proceeds should be divided equally. I was 18 when she sold. She wired all $401,300 to herself. I have copies." I held up the papers. I emailed them when the clerk asked. The magistrate looked through everything. He said, "I do see the decedent's expressed intent filed June 18th, 2020. I do see that Ms. Dalton was 18 at the time of sale. I also see no distribution to her." My mother started getting red. She said, "I used a lot of that money to buy a condo. I'm the parent. She can't just demand money." The magistrate said, "Ma'am, you were the personal representative of this estate. That comes with duties. When an adult heir is entitled to proceeds, you must distribute or hold them in trust. You didn't. Therefore, I'm ordering mediation within 30 days to determine the amount owed. Failing agreement, I will enter judgment for Megan's share plus statutory interest from the date of sale." Statutory interest. I didn't even know what the percentage was. I just knew it meant more. My mom's eyes flashed. She said she's punishing me because I didn't let her be lazy. She wanted to stay in Colorado and party. I said I wanted to go to school. The magistrate said, "That's enough. Ms. Dalton, you will coordinate with the court mediator. Megan, you should come prepared with estimates of your father's intent, the sale amount, and any offsets for your minority support." I said I will. After the call, I walked outside, sat on the low wall, and laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I had been the one on the floor in June, broke, abandoned, and now I had a court backing me. I went to work. I kept living small. I opened a separate credit union account and labeled it "House Proceeds, Do Not Touch." I was ready. Except mediation in September was a circus. My mother logged on 14 minutes late. The mediator, a gray-haired woman named Connie, smiled through it. My mom said she had already spent $280,000 on the Palm Coast condo, that she had closing costs, that she had to buy Ava a car for school, that she had supported me for 3 years after Dad died, and that I owed her for that. She said $15,000 was the most she could spare. I had done the math. Half of $401,300 was $200,650. Even if you deducted, as the mediator suggested, a notional $30,000 for 3 years of housing and utilities after Dad's death, I was still owed around $170,000. So I said no. I want the half Dad said. If she can't pay in cash, she can pay in installments or place a lien on her condo. My mother lost it. She said, "You are destroying your family over money. You're jealous of Ava." There it was. The real reason. Not law. Not fairness. Jealous. The mediator couldn't make us agree. So on September 21st, 2023, the magistrate entered a written order. judgment for petitioner Megan Dalton in the amount of $175,000, representing her share of the proceeds less reasonable offsets, with interest at 8% per annum from June 30, 2023 until paid. Payable within 90 days. Failing payment, judgment to be recorded as a lien on respondent's real property in Volusia County, Florida. I read that order like it was a love letter. I sent it to her in a PDF. She read it because 2 minutes later my phone blew up. You can't lien my condo. I need time. I'm paying Ava's tuition. You're heartless. I typed back, you're 52 now. Figure it out yourself. Then I muted her. I wish the story ended there. It would have been clean. But revenge rarely comes in one swing. Sometimes it circles back. October passed. November. I worked, I saved, I applied for a tiny basement apartment in Windsor. I started school in January 2024 with scholarships and the knowledge that eventually a big check would land. I even started talking to a collections attorney about enforcing the judgment in Florida. He said his retainer was $1,400. I said I'd get it to him. And in that same January on the 23rd, my mom called 7 times in a row. I was in the student center. I saw the screen and rolled my eyes. I almost let it go to voicemail. But 7 times felt like emergency. So I picked up. Her voice was frantic. Megan? Oh my God. Ava's in jail. I didn't say anything. She said, they arrested her last night in Daytona. Her roommate had pills and weed and some other stuff, and the cops said because it was in the apartment and she was there, they charged her too. Possession with intent. They said it's a felony. I need to get her a lawyer. They want $10,000 to start. I need you to wait on the judgment. I need you to send me money. Pictured Ava, perfect Ava, hair in waves, doing her little influencer poses in Florida, suddenly in an orange jumpsuit. Pictured my mom, the one who told me, you're 18 now. Figure it out yourself, sitting in a Florida condo bought with my dad's equity, crying because her favorite was in trouble. I said, did you pay me my $175,000? She said, Megan, this isn't the time. Your sister needs help. I said, I needed help in June. She said, you had options. I said, so does she. She said, Megan, I swear to God, if you don't help, Ava could have a record. This could ruin her life. I said, I know. Silence. Then, I'll pay you after we deal with this. Just send me $5,000 so I can retain the lawyer. Please. I'm begging you. Her voice cracked on begging. It was the first time I'd ever heard my mother admit she needed me. I remembered sleeping on an air mattress. I remembered seeing my name in my dad's handwriting. I remembered being told to prove it. And I remembered the line in the title company's settlement statement where all of my share went to her. So I said, send me proof of payment of my judgment. Then we can talk. She said, I don't have it, Megan. Come on. She's your sister. I said, you chose her. Live with it. Then I ended the call. She called back. I didn't answer. She called again that night. I didn't answer. She texted me links to the Volusia County inmate search, like seeing Ava's mugshot would make me soften. Ava looked small, eyes swollen from crying, makeup gone. Under charges it said possession of controlled substance, possession of marijuana over 20 grams, paraphernalia. A bond of $7,500. My mom texted, if I pay the bond, I can't pay you. Please help. I stared at the screen. I thought about opening my savings and sending something. But then I remembered what the attorney said about Florida enforcement. If she doesn't pay in 90 days, we file in Florida, we record the Colorado judgment, we levy. If she tries to sell or refinance, you get paid first. It wasn't personal. It was math. It was what she taught me. So I let the phone buzz on the table until it stopped. On February 2, 2024, I got an alert from the county clerk. My mother had not satisfied the judgment. I forwarded it to the collections attorney in Orlando. I signed an engagement letter electronically. I paid the $1,400 retainer with 3 months of savings. He filed domestication papers on February 9th. On March 4th, the lien was recorded in Volusia County against 112 Seabreeze Point, Palm Coast, Florida. I imagined her getting that letter in the mail. I imagined her face. She sent me one more message. I hope you're happy. Your sister's life is ruined. Family isn't supposed to do this. I typed back. Parents aren't supposed to sell their kids' house and leave them homeless. Then I muted her again. The attorney called me in May 2024. He said, "Your mother wants to settle. She's listing the condo. She can't close with the lien. She's offering $120,000 now and $60,000 over 12 months. I said, "The order is $175,000 plus interest." He said, "With interest to date, we're at $184,600. If we take $120,000 now and secure the rest with a promissory note and wage garnishment, you'll get all of it in a year. It's a good deal." So on May 23, 2024, I sat at my little desk in Windsor and watched the wire hit my account. $120,000. More money than I'd ever seen. I cried again, but not ugly this time. Release cries. I paid off the attorney. I put $80,000 into a high-yield savings. I used $15,000 as a down payment on a tiny 2-bedroom townhome on the east side of Fort Collins. I did what my mother said, but better. I figured it out myself. Ava ended up pleading to a lesser charge in July. First offender program, fines, random testing, community service. My mother paid her lawyer with the monthly payment she owed me. I know because the attorney sent me the receipts. Every time she helped her favorite, she had to help the daughter she'd abandoned. In August 2024, I was unpacking boxes in my own place when my phone lit with my mother's name again. I let it roll to voicemail. She left a slow, tired message. "Megan, I sold the condo. I'm renting now. I hope you're satisfied. I miss you. I wish you'd talk to me." I saved it not because I cared, but because I wanted to remember the tone. The tone of a woman who thought power was leaving with the good child and telling the other to survive, and who never thought paperwork and patience would beat her. I'm not saying it didn't hurt. Being the daughter your mother can walk away from is a wound that doesn't close fast. Some nights I sat on my couch, heard the wind outside, and almost called her back just to say, "Why wasn't I enough to take?" But then I'd look at the framed copy of the court order on my shelf and remember, I was enough. She was the one who came up short. People think revenge is yelling or slashing tires or getting someone fired. Sometimes it's way quieter. Sometimes it's filling out forms, paying filing fees with the last money you have, and waiting 6 months while the person who told you to figure it out gets slammed by the same system they thought would never listen to you. Months earlier, my mom had called me begging for help because her perfect daughter had been arrested for drug possession. This time, I didn't answer. And I didn't need to. The answer was already recorded, notarized, and filed against everything she owned.